Right, so the next phase, we just got a new shipment here from Flyin Miata. We got our Paco Motorsports eccentric locks. This goes on the back, obviously, to lock your camber into place so it doesn't shift while under load. I got polyurethane exhaust mounts because they don't compress, and I don't want them to move around. Well, I don't want the exhaust to move around. And over here is our Flyin Miata Stage 2 fan kit. Now the fan comes with small, I think these are 12-inch? Oh, these are pretty big. 12-inch fans, they go like that, and then the other one goes over there. And it comes with a shroud. And this is the Stage 2 fan kit again. And this should give us more space on the back. The OE fans are kind of thick, and the AC side I don't need, so it's useless. So I'll have two of these guys and the new shroud to install onto the radiator. Simple. I figured I'd want to upgrade this before I do anything else, because there's not going to be a lot of space in there with the turbo and all the hoses and stuff to fit the OE fans. I'm sure you can, but I just like the free space. So we got these, and we'll put them together. Obviously it comes with instructions, as always. Pretty damn easy to follow too. And it looks just like that. So we'll get this going and see how it looks. If you can hear what I'm doing, I'm not just gunning it. Just letting it go in snug, and then I'm just gonna follow it up with a quick torque check here. Okay. Boom. And there you go, my friends. Done and done. Super easy. All right, so we're just gonna mount this in there and then finish the rest of the turbo stuff. Just gotta make sure I plug this in properly. And they're colored. I mean, obviously black is negative, whatever else color will be the positive. All right, so the shroud's installed with the new radiator. I'm using a coil right now because the CSF that I got, I cross-threaded the bottom drain plug. That's weird because it's brand new, so it must have been just stuck from the factory or something. But anyways, I'm getting another CSF later, but can't find any right now, no stock. So we'll figure that out. Next thing I'm gonna do here is connect the SPAL wiring into the OE connector here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip this off and then solder this unit into it. That way it's clean. I was going to use butt connectors, but it's just not clean. So the next step with the turbo setup is fitting the lower radiator hose, because we moved it, right? Because we took out the main radiator hose over here that actually bolts up to that little bracket that goes up there. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to fit this dude into the outlet and over here to the radiator lower outlet. The tricky part is we'll need to cut this because this is oversized. So we're gonna have to make sure we don't jack it up and cut it too short. Cut it too short, we're screwed. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna push it in there, mock it up, cut here, cut there, and then see if it's good. Right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna line this up with tape, and I know I might be cutting this a little too much at once, but you know, I'm gonna need to. It's a lot of hose. It's a lot of hose, and I think we should be okay. Only cut a lot when you know for sure that it'll work. So this is what I'm gonna do. I think it'll be okay. Let's do it. If I cut it too much, guess what? I'm gonna have to call Keith at Flyin Miata and tell him that I was a dumbass and I just cut too much because I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so best thing to cut this with is a sharp blade, like sharp box cutter. Works really damn well. See that? And you just follow the tape around. That's pretty much it. You cut it like this, it kind of looks like a machine cut at the end. Just try to be smooth with it. If you have silicone spray, spray the blade so it doesn't catch. I did that earlier, so we should be okay. Okay, there you go. Just go over it again. If you can't make one pass, just do a couple of passes until you get it. There you go, see? Super clean. I think this will work. All right, so we go back up here. I'm gonna slide it up the top first and see how much room we have. Okay, that's all the way in. And then down here, ish. Okay. Yeah, look at that, guys. One hit wonder. Perfect. It's connected there, and it's connected over there, and it's not touching this hose. It's only touching the other silicone hose, so that's all right. We just throw on the clamps and we're done. Awesome. All right, so for those of you kind of asking how much I cut off, I can measure this. This is probably about 4 inches or so. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3 inches. Took off 3 inches. It was perfect. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is connect the wastegate actuator to the bottom of the compressor. I'm not sure if you guys could see that, but that hose, this hose goes to that brass barb that we attached to the compressor earlier on the install. So I'm just gonna route this guy the other way. Hopefully you guys can see this. If not, it's just the brass barb to the top of this. And that's pretty much it. And then I'm just using a little bit of gun lube, as gun oil, so it slides on without fighting it. There you go. All right, so we have everything pretty much done right now. We changed the radiator coolant reservoir. We installed our new radiator, which is a slimmer radiator, and the stage 2 Flyin Miata fan shroud and fan kit. The Sheepy Race extended intercooler. The Flyin Miata one works perfect. I just wanted to fill up the gap a little bit. As far as power, I don't think it's gonna make any difference. Maybe marginally. Over here, we trimmed the OEM, or the, I'm saying that wrong, not OEM, but the Flyin Miata intercooler piping, which is silicone, and we just inserted a little bit of a 2.5 inch pipe in between, a coupler, and that's why we have the 2 clamps on here, and the clamps are actually attached to the top. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, to the bracket up there. It's pretty damn stable. And this is an HPS line, just to extend the hose a little bit, because it's a little tight in this area right here. Let me turn up the ISO. But it's a little tight around here, and I already knew that coming in. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, there you go. So it's a little tight here, especially around the sway bar. So I added this little extension, and we were able to utilize the Flyin Miata stuff, most of it at least. And down here we've also got the radiator. This is the lower radiator hose that's part of the kit, and it basically reroutes the coolant passages. As you can see it right here. So it goes over there, down over there. You don't need to use that bracket anymore. That's over there, which is pretty cool. And then we got the coolant. These are the coolant hose that goes into the turbo itself. And the blow-off valve, which is basically the bypass valve, goes down to the brace over here into the recirculating valve right there. I guess you could use a blow-off valve, but this is just a recirculation valve. Damn, I can't say that. There it is. You can see it right now. And then the hose as well. So that's one of the only ways to make this Cali legal, is to recirculate all that stuff. And it comes with this fancy carb sticker, just in case you get pulled over. If I get pulled over in this car, I don't think I have to worry about the turbo kit. I'm gonna look at the whole car and say this is totally illegal anyway, so I'm probably not gonna point out that sticker. But other than that, everything is good to go. Everything's plumbed up. This is plumbed to the barb that's down there, and everything's zip tied. I got the check valve going from the solenoid here to the manifold. You can kind of see it in there. It's a little dark. Let me turn this up and you'll see what I mean. There it is. That's the check valve. And I'm guessing that's part of the kit because you don't want to push boost into that solenoid. It's a one-way check valve, so other than that, I just gotta plug in the ECU, put some oil, coolant, and then prime the system. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention too, I didn't finish the exhaust setup for the diffuser. So what I did was, this is so funny. I basically just went to my buddy's place, Eric, who goes by Boost Scientist on Instagram, and he made this little turn down. He made this in 10 minutes. Can you believe that? I can't even make that in 10 minutes, but it's basically, it just dumps from the downpipe. It just dumps it right before the catalytic area. And this right here you see is the Flyin Miata butterfly brace version 1. They have a version 2 now, so I'll be installing that later. But this is pretty cool. I mean, I want to do a full exhaust after this whole event's done, which is the MAZDA Miata reunion. And this is the whole reason why I'm redoing this whole setup, is because of that event. All right, next. This has nothing to do with a turbo setup, but I've been meaning to do this for a good while here, but I actually haven't even driven the car with this valve cover on. But the wrinkle red valve cover that I have, I've been meaning to actually sand the MAZDA lettering, the embossed lettering on there. I did that with my previous valve cover, and a lot of people keep telling me I should. I already know. I've been meaning to, I just haven't had time. If you guys didn't know, I am originally a Honda boy, and we Honda boys paint our valve covers freaking often. Try to make it look like a Type R because, you know, we're cheap and can't afford a Type R. So I'm just using a sanding block here. Hopefully I don't fuck this up. If I do, well, you'll see it on film. Alright, so here's our next mod. We're gonna wrap the air box with this reflective foil. You can buy this stuff on eBay or wherever you buy your auto parts from. It's called Reflect the Gold. Friggin' expensive. This was $65. So we're gonna kind of measure how much we need. I kind of want one piece. That way it's all seamless. So if you didn't buy enough, you'd have to kind of seam it, I guess. And then, yeah, it looks like half of this is about right. So I'm just gonna pre-cut this real quick. And then down. There you go. And then this is basically just like wrapping your car. Easy peasy. So I'm gonna wrap this and then show you guys the finished product after. There you go. That shit took longer than I thought, so I just skipped about half of it. There you go, nice and mounted. Now you don't really need to coat the inside because all the radiant heat's coming from this side, but you could, but it's kind of useless. There you go. One piece. All right, so ECU upgrade time. This is our Mega Squirt MS3 Pro, which is basically their plug and play unit. It says it right there, plug and play. And that's pretty much all you have to do. You bolt these in, you attach the internal map sensor hose, and this is the data link. And here's the cable for it. There's this, hey, look at that. USB, screws, DIY auto tune goodies, USB cable, and this is the piggy. Oh hey, I have this, awesome. And then boost solenoids right here. Cool, this should be fun. All right, so today we're gonna start the car, or at least make sure nothing leaks. And we're using our SR5R oil from Torco. And I already put one in. Had to confess, I used it to flush everything. I didn't use it to keep it in the car, I just use it to flush like residual crap from when we drilled the oil pan. Sorry, Torco. It was well worth it though, so everything should be clean in there now. That's $22. Oh boy. All right, right now we're priming the turbo. We disconnected the main relay and then we've already cranked it at least twice for 20 or 10 seconds at a time. Right now I'm reaching to the back, make sure that the feed line's not leaking or anything. No, it's not gonna start tonight, but we're just priming it. Make sure we're good. Okay, go. Oil pressure go up?
Yeah, just up to 30. And then it just kind of stayed there.
My alarm went off. Carbon monoxide. I'm probably breathing it in and dying. Let's turn on the fan. Well, so far everything's right. I just gotta verify the timing, waiting for Dan to come here with his timing light. Then we can set the proper parameters and then bleed the coolant some more, put the car down on the ground, wash the engine bay, wash the car, dry it out, put it back in the garage and put it together. I just gotta put the front end together. I'm not sure if I have time to do the diffuser. I don't want to rush it. So I might do that with the new wheels, so it's like a totally different new look. And yeah, I think that's it for now until we go to Laguna Seca tomorrow.